here. Julian, should we start calling this? Second quarter getting ready to get underway here at Liberty. It's 1st and 10 for the Mustangs from their own 35. Now going right to left. Kaiser throws over the middle. Big catch and across midfield. That is complete to Gradowitz. Jeremiah Gradowitz. Biggest play from scrimmage in this one for Stockdale is a 20-yard completion. First down, Stockdale.
Yeah, and we talked about the nuances of the Liberty offense. Stockdale doing their best impression to keep them off balance. Great play to come out of the break with a crossing route.
That's Kaiser's fourth completion to 4 different receivers, and the biggest play from scrimmage in this game for either team, a 20-yard completion to Gradowitz. Kaiser now hands it off, bounced back and stuffed, and that was Elijah Hudson with his first carry of the game, the senior backup running back and starter at inside linebacker. And Hudson is still out there. So change at running back after that screen pass in the first down. And I'm looking to the sidelines to see if Jacob Jones is maybe being attended to over there in the tent, and I think he might be.
And that'll definitely be a tough blow if Jacob can't come back out. Trips open pistol formation for Stockdale. Liberty in the 30 even front.
Back to pass Kaiser. Quick throw on the hitch, too tall for Lauren Johnson.
Yeah, you could tell where Lauren was actually thinking about running before catching that. May have worked against him. Brings up a 3rd and long. Liberty brought pressure from that Mike linebacker, and it forced Kaiser to have to get it off a little bit quicker than expected. Usually an easy catch and toss.
3rd down and 12. 2 receivers to each side. Hudson, the running back, now in for Jones. Kaiser throwing the whole way. Has to step up. Is brought down. Sack for Liberty. And I believe it was Nathan Krause. It was.
And one of the things about being a backup running back, usually you're a backup running back because you can't pass block as well. And that's an example of that, as he just swifts. Gives up the huge sack on Stockdale's best drive of the football game. And you definitely got to hope Jacob Jones is going to get up after seeing that.
Kaiser to punt. Gets away a spiral. Going to bounce down at the 3 and takes a roll into the end zone for a touchback. And so Liberty will come out and take over at the 20-yard line. 1st and 10, Liberty, 10:02 to go here in the second quarter.
Unfortunate events for Stockdale. They get the huge completion on the crossing route. You have 1st and 10 crossing midfield for the first time. And all of a sudden, you're starting running backs out. Backup whiffs on a pass protection. And you're punting the football right back to a high-octane Liberty offense that's been waiting for an opportunity after getting a good quarter break.
Patriots take over at their own 20-yard line, 1st and 10, 10:02 to play here. Second quarter of this one, Liberty and Stockdale, a pair of teams that are undefeated in SWYL play. The Patriots 6-1 on the year, Stockdale 5-2, and winners of 5 straight. And Hayden Mann in the backfield takes the pass and hands it off to Prentice Boone off the right side. Bounces outside. Boone makes a man miss. 30, 35, stiff arm. Flag comes in late. And another flag now on the sideline as Boone went out and Jeremiah Gradowitz might have had an extra little push in there. And so these might end up being offsetting penalties.
Unfortunate event for this wide receiver out here because he's just crashing back down. And because the play's breaking back outside, he gets that block in the back that we talked about. Anytime you got that change of direction, it's usually going to result in a penalty, and then you got the late hit out of bounds. So it looks like they'll offset and redo it.
James Taplin talking things over. Line judge Steve Rogers was there. There's a block in the back, as Kenny called, and an unnecessary or unsportsmanlike conduct. Almost said unnecessary roughness. It hasn't been unnecessary roughness in a long time, right? It's just unsportsmanlike conduct now.
I almost said it earlier, too.
And so those penalties should offset. Well, actually, it looks like they're having a conversation now. I wonder, the unsportsmanlike conduct happens out of bounds is after the play. So that's a dead ball foul. So what they're going to do is actually mark off the block in the back penalty first, and then turn around and march off the unsportsmanlike penalty. And that's going to result in a Liberty first down. And it's going to put them all the way out to the 35-yard line.
Great communication by the officials as well as the coaches. Those plays can be confusing when you have those dead ball penalties and those live action penalties. Nonetheless, it'll be 1st and 10 for Liberty. Hayden Mann with a trips open set.
License number 85099N1.
So man in the backfield.
Needs to be moved before it's towed.
Bubble screen, outside catch made.
Uh-oh.
This is Tooker.
Oh.
Tooker's got space. Another flag as Dylan Tooker's going to go all the way for naught. And this will be the second touchdown of the game called back on a penalty. And Brian Nixon is beside himself on the sideline.
Absolutely, because that was the second huge play of over 60 yards that'll be taken away. You got the punt return taken away earlier. Just unfortunate, and one of those things that keeps Stockdale in the game, even though they haven't been playing that well. It's still a one-possession football game with 9:17 remaining to play in the second quarter.
There's the holding call. I'm going to say this happened all the way back at the line of scrimmage, and Brian Nixon just threw his hands up and turned around and walked away. Essentially walking away from his quarterback. Hayden Mann's like, Coach, I need a play. I know you're not happy about it, but we still need to call a play, Coach.
Well, I had Coach Nix on the Renegade Report last year, and he's one of the most serious people in the world when it comes to execution, and his patience is not very long when it comes to mistakes.
Right. A 10-yard penalty on the hold, and it's 1st and 20 from the Liberty 25-yard line. Penalties have been the undoing of both of these clubs early on. 1st and 20. Prentice Boone to the right. 2 receivers on each side. In motion. This is Henderson. Jet sweep. Henderson to the 30, 35, and taken down. That's going to be about a gain of 12. Great little run there from Ramon Henderson on his first touch of the ball game.
Jason, and I hate to beat a dead horse, but when you got that 30 even front, teams are not going to pass when you have extra defensive backs when you're going nickel against 4 wides. They're going to continue to run the football, and that's why you're seeing 10 yards a pop.
And a whistle before the snap. False start against Liberty. Another Patriot penalty.
You know, we talked about the struggle for both teams and how unclean the game has been. When you're a football team like Liberty and you're expected to roll over a Stockdale team that's just getting in winning graces recently, you got to execute because you can't let sleeping dogs wake up.
And this is what Stockdale kind of did last week against Centennial. They gave up an early touchdown, and then they just kind of run and hung around, and then they pounced twice late. This is a quick screen. It's only going to go for 2 yards, and it's going to set up a 3rd and 10 for Liberty.
Absolutely. I mean, you talked about it last week. They struggled, but they fought their way through the football game with perseverance, and it looks like the same thing's happening right now unless Liberty can convert on this 3rd and long.
Just a 2-yard completion there for Mann. And the first catch for Krause in this one. Mann to throw. Steps up and is sacked. And a flag comes in late all the way from the umpire. He threw that thing 20 yards.
Has to be a hold on these DBs out here.
And that's going to be a killer for the Mustangs if it is, because I don't think that would have had any impact. Stockdale got excellent penetration.
Yeah, we'll definitely see what this is going to be.
I just looked down at Darius Larsoul, who's a corner for Stockdale, and he was just doing the throw the flag motion as if, like, how many flags are we going to throw tonight? This is illegal hands to the face on the Mustangs. And that is going to bail Liberty out.
Wow. You know, and I was talking to Julian about one of the games we had down south against El Camino for the Bakersfield College Renegades, and we had an illegal hands to the face against a receiver from a DB, in the secondary. It's one of the calls that you hardly ever see.
And that wasn't even – normally when you see that, Kenny, it's on a jam job, right? Like
yes, at the line.
Press coverage,
yes.
hand gets high, jam job. But they just moved the ball 12 yards downfield. So they're saying that was illegal hands to the face as they were turning and running, I guess?
That's kind of nitpicky, from a former DB's perspective. It's only the second time in a long time where I've seen that play called away from the line of scrimmage from a defensive back. You hit the nail on the head with that one, Jason.
Ball all the way to the 45 of Liberty. 1st and 10 Patriots. 7:38 clock counting. Trips near side. Quick throw over the middle. Caught. This is Tucker, and Tucker inside the 30-yard line.
Well, Jason, I'll tell you, when it got to studying stats today, the name that pops out you more than anybody's was Dylan Tucker. And as you see, he's had some amazing plays, even though they've been called back. But he's a weapon.
All the way down to the 30-yard line, 28-yard line. Here's Prentice Boone, breaks the tackle, and then a nice job by Leonard to go low.
To the 20-yard line, tripped up by number 11, Jack Kaiser for the Mustangs.
Huge penalty. Turns into extra offense after Liberty was headed to the sideline and bringing out their punt team. Nonetheless, they are rolling. 2nd and 3, heading south.
That was a 27-yard connection between Tucker and Mann. Here's a whistle and a false start on Liberty. And 2nd and 3 is going to turn into 2nd and 8.
And there's that inconsistency that we talked about. It's one of the things about coaching young football teams. You're going to see mistakes and expect to see some of that stuff and rub it off. But this is league play from a seasoned football team that played in the championship last year. You can't have those kind of mistakes after you're rolling like we just talked about.
So 2nd down, and we'll call it 8. Trips to the left side. Henderson is the receiver in the middle of that set. And Mann looking, Mann under pressure, dumps it off for Boone with space. 20, 15, Prentice Boone turns, touchdown, Liberty.
Heads up play by
and
the
another
Liberty
flag.
Quarterback. And another flag as I'm trying to give some credit. Oh, this is one of the reasons why coaches have gray hair or none at all.
Brian Nixon doesn't have a hat anymore. It just went sailing, I think.
Oh, my
Holding
goodness.
Liberty.
Oh, wipes away their 3rd touchdown of the game on penalties.
The 3rd touchdown of 20-plus yards.
Wow.
That's what's got to be so deflating about this. It's not just touchdowns. Now, you never want to give up a touchdown, but you've had 3 explosive home run plays.
Absolutely.
Go backwards.
Yes, and more than anything, with just taking away the points, it also takes away the momentum. The crowd deflates, and now you got to start everything back over.
A poor student used his confetti popper on that play.
I saw that, too.
That's a waste of $1.95 right there. 2nd down and 4.5. In motion. Dumped off for Tucker.
Woo.
Gets 4 yards.
Well, I talked about Stockdale needing to do a better job up front. They're definitely doing a great job of pursuing. The initial push is what I'm talking about in reference to playing a heavy run team. Even though they're in spread and shotgun offense, it's still predominantly run when you're facing Liberty. You got to do a better job up front in the trenches. 3rd and 2, trips open set.
Prentice Boone the back. Hayden Mann's going to keep it himself. Hayden Mann bursts through 5, end zone, touchdown. We're looking. No laundry. Touchdown, Liberty. Hayden Mann's 2nd rushing touchdown of the ballgame.
Well, you joked about the confetti, and I saw one of the kids doing the same thing we did. He hesitated before he threw that confetti out there. But I talked about the initial importance of being big in the trenches for Stockdale. They haven't done that. Their linebackers are doing a better job filling. But right there, you see at the initial launch point from the A-gap, Hayden Mann breaks 1 tackle and there's nobody else there. They're going to have to adjust.
Extra point on the way and good. And Braden Blevins makes it 14-0 Liberty. Hayden Mann with his 6th rushing touchdown of the season. 2nd of the game. And the Patriots finally get to keep one of their touchdowns.
Such a beautiful campus. Pat Preston Field, man, I was surprised to hear that. You know, I'm a former Pat Preston coach driller, you know, but I remember when Liberty High School opened up, he was one of their first administrators here and principals. You know, so it's amazing to see the history that exists in Kern County football and have an opportunity to call these games with you guys at Kern High Network has been a blessing. I want to thank Stan Green and everybody down there that makes these things possible. Beautiful experience.
4 minutes, 23 seconds on the touchdown drive that in real lifetime took over 20. 10 of that was spent watching James Taplin practice for his future job as an NFL official.
Well, my funniest
the way we're
story,
throwing flags tonight, he'd be perfect for.
Absolutely. My funniest story about Coach Taplin, he was my first football coach. I'm a former DB. I play at wide receiver as the ball goes into the end zone. He had me as a center.
Oh,
Coach Taplin. So I would tease him about that when he was officiating my Renegade games. Like, Coach, you had me all wrong, man. Could have been a star earlier.
For those of you who don't know Kenny, he's not exactly center material.
I am definitely not center material.
I stand a stout 5'11", and he's maybe eye level with me.
Yeah, I'm right with you, man. I'm right with you.
1st and 10 for Stockdale. 5:39 left. Second quarter. Mustangs trailing 14-0, and you feel like this is the drive Stockdale would like to answer and put some points on the board. You don't want to go into the half with a goose egg. Kaiser in the backfield. Jacob Jones has not returned yet. This is a deep corner and a catch and out of bounds. Boy, that was a great effort, but Jeremiah Gradowitz just couldn't reel it in and get a foot down.
Well, the underneath drop by that outside linebacker forced the quarterback to have to put some air under that. He tried his best to drop that teardrop in there. Nonetheless, incomplete.
Jack Kaiser is 4 of 9 in this ball game for just short of 50 yards.
Yeah, and Kaiser's doing a great job not making mistakes, and that's what I talked about being important. But he's going to have to take some shots being down 14 as he takes the shotgun snap.
Looking to throw. Dumps it underneath.
Oh!
It went through the hands and was nearly intercepted. He wanted Gradowitz again, and it'll be 3rd and 10 for the Mustangs.
Yeah, and that was almost an unforced mistake as his receiver almost dropped it right into the DB's hands. And that's what you can't do. You have to execute those short passing plays because they're looking forward to that to make it a makeable 3rd down conversion opportunity, and you're just not getting that right now. 3rd and 10. Trips open set for Kaiser.
Over to the near side is the big man, Larry Brown. Kaiser to throw. Pressure coming. Kaiser sends one deep. Up and caught at the 48-yard line, and he dropped it on the way down. And I think that was Gradowitz again. It was. Boy, they targeted Gradowitz on 3 straight plays, and he got his hand on 2 of them. Actually, all 3 of them. And none of them will count. And it's 4th and 10 for the Mustangs, and Kaiser will drop back to punt.
Well, you got to give credit where credit is due, Mr. Galvin. That DB was all over that. Put his shoulder into the chest, tried to drive him to the sideline. It was underthrown a bit, which usually the offensive guy always have an opportunity. But he played it well, and that's a boomer.
Caught by Montesinos. Cuts upfield, 35-40, 45-50. Montesinos has space, 40, 35, cuts in, 30, taken down at the 28-yard line. J.J. Montesinos with a return of 33 yards, and it puts the Patriots 1st and goal at the Stockdale 28. And you talk about worst-case scenario for the Mustangs after giving up a touchdown with 5 minutes and 35 seconds on the clock. Their defense is back on the field, almost in the red zone at 5:02.
Well, I see one of my idols down there on the sideline, Coach Jason Oliver. And you can tell he's excited when he gets those kind of returns because he was one of the most explosive returners in Central Section history as a driller. Trips open set. You got
and
movement.
the flag.
And I know man is upset because right there it looked like they were going for the throat with some play action. And that false start is going to cost the element of surprise.
Hayden Mann just walked over to Brian Nixon and was kind of throwing his hands around like he might have seen something on that play. Or maybe he understood why the penalty came.
Absolutely.
So 1st and 15 from the 33. Play action. Mann takes the shot. He wants Henderson. End zone. Can't get there.
Great coverage.
Boy, Hayden Mann took a shot as he threw that, too. Bounces back up.
Yeah, and Coach Nix wanted to take a shot. They were taking a shot the first play before the penalty, but you lose the element of surprise after that sudden change, and now they're going hurry up, as you talked about.
Prentice Boone, the running back. That's who's going to get the ball. Boone up the middle, 30, 25. Goes down just short of the 25, actually.
Lucky arm tackle brings him down because he was one step away from another 6. And this is a huge 3rd down. You're trying to keep Liberty as far away from that end zone as possible, but they got the leg of Mr. Blevins. I think he's within range if they don't get another yard.
Already the 11th carry for Prentice Boone in this game. And it's 3rd down and 9 at the 27. Hayden Mann takes the snap. Pump fake, throw.
Incomplete.
They call it incomplete.
Wow, that was tight. Tight throw, tight catch, but he just didn't go to the ground with completion. I didn't think he had a window to get that through.
He's trying to get it to Tooker.
Now it'll be an interesting call to see what Coach Nix goes with. You got 4th and 9, but when you got the best kicker in the central section, in Mr. Blevins, you're going to go ahead and give him a shot for his first field goal of the game and try to make it a 17-0 lead with 14 remaining to play in the second quarter.
Braden Blevins on to kick the field goal. The holder is Jake O'Connell, pardon me. The long snapper, Ryan Alvidrez, and this one has the distance and has 3 points. Blevins drills it from 44 yards out.
Well, I talked about 3 kids I wanted to see do well today. 2 of them were connected on that play. Mr. Alvidrez with the long snap. His dad was one of our sponsors for our Kids in Cleats drive. Love that family. And Mr. Blevins, son of one of the greatest of all time, Dave Blevins. You got some great pedigree walking around here.
Indeed. They're doing something right over here at Liberty. Stockdale's got them going on, too.
Absolutely.
So 4:10 left. That scoring drive lasted all of 52 seconds.
Well, Jason, if you think about it, we have a 17-0 game. This was much more tighter than the score resembles. So if you're Stockdale, you want to do the best you can to try to get something on the board with 4:10 remaining to play and make you feel a lot better going in for the break.
It was just a couple of minutes ago that this was a 7-point game. Here's the kick. Blevins got all of that one. Touchback. So the Mustangs will take over at the 20-yard line. 4:10 left. Second quarter, it's 17-0. Liberty leads Stockdale. And I'll repeat what I said on the prior drive. If you're the Mustangs, now is a good time to put a long drive together and put some points on the board.
Absolutely.
Last time that I said that, they went 3 and out in 20 seconds. Hopefully I'm not the jinx. If I am, Ken might throw me off the roof here before the second half.
No, we need you, man. We got the Galvin and Calvin
Galvin and
going.
I forgot about that. Galvin and Calvin.
Man, this might be the team.
Stan Green had no idea what he was getting into when he paired us up. 1st and 10. Kaiser hands it off, and right away, Elijah Hudson gets stuffed.
And I understand the thinking by Stockdale's coach on that call. That may make a lot of people upset and frustrated, but you do not want to just go a quick 3 and out and give this Liberty team the football back with more than 2 minutes. So you have to do something to try to get the clock moving, but you're going to have to take a shot eventually if you're Stockdale.
Hudson's second carry stopped at the line of scrimmage. Still no Jacob Jones, and here's Kaiser steps up. Kaiser says, I'm going to run it. Slides down. He got 2. It'll be 3rd and long.
Kaiser not the most mobile quarterback, but like I said, he doesn't need to try to make huge plays with his feet. He just needs to make great decisions. And that was one right there, avoiding the sack. 3rd and 6, maybe 7 for Stockdale with their most important conversion attempt of the game.
And a new running back for the Mustangs is Luz Barrientos. Maybe he's out there to be the pass blocking back, as Ken alluded to earlier. Kaiser takes the snap. Indeed, Barrientos will block. Kaiser tries to step up, rolls right, still looking, has time, throws, incomplete, was looking for Brown, fell to his feet. Would have been plenty for a first down. Wow. Instead, another 3-and-out forced by this Patriots defense, and the Mustangs will punt.
Absolutely, and like I talked about, one of my idols is down there. The reason I played the position I played, Jason Oliver, and he's doing a great job keeping his corners and safeties deep as the deepest, attached to everybody. There was nowhere for Kaiser to go. While they prepare for the punt, I want to give a shout-out to Libby Wyatt, principal of Liberty High School, as we got a roller.
Stockdale will down it at 33, and that's where Liberty will take over.
Yeah, we got Josh Williams, AP of Instruction, Ron Priest, AP of Administration, Stephanie Mills, Dean of Students, Tim Davis, the Athletic Director, and Brooke Slayton, Activity Director. Doing a great job over here at Liberty High School, guys. Keep up the great work.
Of course, a shout-out to everybody at the Kern High School District and Kern High Network helps us put these games together. Starts with Stan Green at the top. Julian Wilson, our camera operator and producer tonight. I'm Jason Galvin. He's Kenny Calvin. 2:31 left, second quarter of this one. Liberty leads 17-0. The winner will be in the driver's seat in the SWYL. The loser will go into the dogfight with BHS and Centennial for second over the middle. A big catch. Tucker.
Oh, my
across
goodness.
the 40.
Oh, my
Hayden
goodness.
Mann connects with Dylan Tucker right away.
How about the yards after the catch by Mr. Tucker? The kid already has a couple touchdowns that's been taken back. He's saying, I'm trying to get back there, Mr. Calvin. 1st and 10 for Liberty, and they're going hurry up, because why not?
The 34 to the 37 man rolls, fires Tucker again to the 25.
We talked about the importance of Stockdale's defense having to do the best they can to try to slow them down, but they haven't got much help from the offense. And eventually you're just out there doing the best you can and tired. They're starting to look winded, Jason.
Back-to-back passes of 29 and 11 to Tucker, who now has 5 catches in this one. Mann will throw again. This is Henderson, hit right away. Had nowhere to go. In fact, Ramon Henderson's going to lose yards on that one. And a timeout, Stockdale.
We talked about
Liberty.
The pursuit of Stockdale, and they're doing a great job. But they just had some initial contact tackles that haven't been made. They're not doing a great job tackling, and it's coming back to haunt them, and it's led to 17 points. Right now, they just got to do the best they can to try to get into the locker room.
Or just sell some.
Getting my truck ready for the Sierras.
And fixing the flat, I got a 99.
1 minute, 35 seconds left here in the second quarter. It is 17-0. Liberty over Stockdale. Patriots with the ball. Will be 2nd and 14 from the Stockdale 30-yard line.
And I got to be honest, Jason, outside of that screenplay that we saw Jacob catch before he went to the sideline, Stockdale hasn't done much to stretch the field, which is leaving Liberty having an opportunity to put all those extra backers inside and bring extra pressure. And it's turned into a long night.
You had back-to-back plays. Jacob Jones on a screen for 13 yards, and then Jeremiah Gradowitz for 20 yards on a deep corner route. Back-to-back plays, and since then, Stockdale's longest play went for -2 yards.
Absolutely. You're not going to beat a great Liberty football team, or even a good one, with those kind of numbers. 2nd and 14.
This is Boone. No, it's a throw.
Oh!
Open. Henderson. End zone. Touchdown. Ramon Henderson strikes and Liberty is blowing this one open late in the second quarter. It is 23-0 on a 30-yard touchdown reception for Ramon Henderson.
Wow, and let's walk them back through that play. Quick RPO, you fake the dive, and Ramon Henderson is one of the quickest players in the state. He takes 3 steps and jabs inside for that quick slant. Nobody touches him. Touchdown, Liberty. And wow, 9 more points. We may see a running clock after a great first 2 quarters.
A 4-play scoring drive. Blevins puts the extra point through. It is 24-0 Liberty. To give you an idea, with 5 minutes and 35 seconds left in this quarter, it was 7-0. Liberty has piled on 17 points in the last 3.5 minutes.
And the reason why that happens is because of bad execution on the offensive end from Stockdale. When your main gun goes out, you don't have the variety. You're already leaning on a sophomore who's your leading weapon outside of Kaiser. But now you're just minimized from a personnel perspective, and your playbook's cut in half, which results in early outs, 3 and outs, and only 2 yards of offense past the line of scrimmage like you just alluded to. So maybe I think we should probably give Stockdale High's administration a shout out and give them a little energy, see if they can get something going with 1:31 remaining to play in the first half. So we're going to say a shout out to Scott Outland, principal, to Sean Winston, AP of Instruction, Teddy Armijo, AP of Administration, Rebecca Fols, Dean of Students, Justin Roberts, Athletic Director, and Leah McClain, Activities Director. Hopefully you can give you guys some energy.
Kick was bobbled, now picked up and returned. This is Barrientos. Luz Barrientos gets it out across the 20-yard line after fumbling the kick originally. Tackled by Oliver out at the 23-yard line. That's where Stockdale takes over. 1 minute, 26 seconds, and everything that I've been saying about maybe this is the time that you want to put a long drive together if your Stockdale goes out the window. There's 1 minute and 26 seconds left. You're down by 24. Start taking shots, Kenny.
You got to start taking shots. The conservative approach is out the door because one more score by these guys, and we're looking at a running clock for the Battle of Bakersfield.
Kaiser, shotgun. Barrientos is the back. He'll get the ball. Lose Barrientos off the right side, and he loses 2 yards and has no more success than Elijah Hudson had. So Barrientos goes backwards.
And right now the Mustangs are probably just thinking we need to get out of here and stop the bleeding before we end up having to punt back to these guys.
1:01 remaining. Liberty does have 2 timeouts still, so if they wanted to stop the clock after the next 2 plays and get the ball, they could. Kaiser to throw. Kaiser throws back to his near side and drops it 5 yards short of Gradowitz as he was under a ton of pressure. And it will be 3rd and 11.
And just like I alluded to, now you have to decide how do you want to approach this because Liberty still has a timeout. It looks like they have 2 timeouts left. They can very easily call one and force you to punt and put another touchdown up. So you have to definitely try your best to get this 3rd down and not just run the ball and try to get to the locker room. You're not going to be able to escape.
Stockdale's 3 drives that started in this quarter prior to this play have gone for a total of 0 yards. And here's Kaiser to throw. Kaiser under pressure, dumps it off, and Brown drops it. And it is 4th and long, and Kaiser immediately turns around, drops back, and is ready to punt it.
And if you're Liberty's defense, and I know Coach Nick spends a lot of time up on the hill getting defenses from Coach Chudy. Right now is a situation where you're going to bring the house and come after this punt.
High snap. Here's the pressure. Got it away. Takes a bounce at the 45. And here's JoJo Montesinos across midfield to the 45, down to the 43-yard line. 31 seconds and 2 timeouts, and Brian Nixon could definitely put the nail in the coffin here with 31 seconds left.
Boy, Jake O'Connell came off that edge like lightning, and he was extremely close to getting that block. But nonetheless, look at the field position. You still got 31 seconds. You have 2 timeouts. You're sitting on a 24-point lead, but I can guarantee you that Coach Nix is still looking for more blood.
31 seconds left. Ball at the Stockdale 43. This is the third drive for Liberty to start across the 50. Hayden Mann, 3 receivers left, is going to throw. Looking, takes a shot right sideline. That's caught. Turning and going down is Oliver. Did he get out of bounds? Yes, he did. First down at the 25-yard line. Boy, Jason Oliver took quite a hit there.
Wow.
But made the catch.
Yeah, that was some huge collision and contact going on down there. I think the Stockdale guy got the brunt of that. Nonetheless, 1st and 10, and just like we talked about, 23 seconds remaining to play. Didn't even need the timeout because it got out of bounds. And now this doesn't even look like it was a 7-0 game in the first quarter.
18-yard completion. Hayden Mann has completed his last 5 passes. 3 of them have gone for 15 or more yards. 3 receivers to the left, Oliver all alone on the right. Mann will roll left and get a block. Now tries to throw across his body, has a man, Tucker. Tucker inside the 10, hurdles and is out of bounds, and a flag. 3 flags.
And I'm wondering what the flags are for because all I saw was a hurdle.
I'm guessing maybe they hit him after he hurdled out of bounds. It's the only thing I can think of.
Boy,
I got nothing for you.
If you've never seen Dylan Tucker in action, this kid is putting on a show.
Here's the call. No.
Wow.
Oh, it's against the Patriots.
Okay.
And you know what they're going to get? They're going to get a personal foul, I think, on the block from the other receiver that was over there.
Okay.
That might have been a chop block.
Blindside.
And so that's going to back Liberty up.
First thing they
back him
haven't
up too
done
far
right.
because it's going to come backwards from the spot of the foul.
Yeah, so he still got 2 shots. 13 seconds left to play. He still got 2 timeouts.
And that literally essentially just wiped the play out. It's 1st and 10 from the 25-yard line. Man to throw. Rolls right. Pressured. Looking. Flag. Throws. Incomplete. He just got rid of it. 6 seconds left. This is going to be a hold, and there's another flag. What is that one for?
Well, I'm hoping that wasn't a late hit by Stockdale because that would nullify that holding call that we assume is happening.
Here's the call. Holding on Liberty.
Patriots.
And
no.
How is it intentional grounding?
That definitely shouldn't have been intentional grounding.
Are they saying the ball didn't get to the 25? That's what they're saying.
Okay, so it didn't get past the line of scrimmage.
Right.
So great. So good call, Coach Tapp. I'm going to take that one back. You know, I like to give my guys a tough time sometime. I was never the friendliest as a player and coach with the officials.
The holding penalty is the one they're going to take. There's 6 seconds left. The ball is all the way back at the 39-yard line.
And Liberty's definitely blowing an opportunity with these penalties.
It's not going to try a 56-yard field goal. Hayden Mann, timeout Stockdale. Brett Shelton wants to make sure his defense does not give up another score here. Just ran a second off the clock.
We're Kern County.
It should be 6 seconds on the clock. We'll see here.
We connect California.
That 1 second could actually mean something here, too.
Absolutely.
Brian Nixon was planning on maybe a quick hitter over the middle or something. You just never know. While we got a second, want to thank our great sponsors that help us produce these games. Kern High School District wants to thank Motor City, Bakersfield College, Kern Schools Federal Credit Union, the continued support of students in the Kern High School District.
Hey, viewers, we got homecoming tomorrow. Come up to the hill. BC homecoming versus
we playing,
Ventura.
Kenny?
We got Ventura. They're always a challenge.
I was just going to ask, how's Ventura this year?
They're always a challenge. No matter what their records are, you're going to see some explosive talent on the edge. They always have some of the best wide receivers in the state. A lot of D1 kickbacks, high impact, and no love lost. Trust me.
Part of the I always called it like the Tri-Counties rivalry. You have BC,
Yes.
College of the Canyons, where I went in Santa Clarita and Ventura.
Absolutely.
And they're like the magnets in Southern California for D1 bounce backs.
Absolutely.
Hayden Mann, here we go. 6 seconds, is just going to tuck it up for Oliver, and he's
Oh,
going to
and
find
it's
the man. Touchdown, Liberty!
Wow.
Unbelievable. Ramon Henderson was not the intended target on that play. That was thrown for Jason Oliver, and Ramon Henderson ran under it for the touchdown. 39 yards. There's a flag well after the play. The touchdown will stand.
Wow.
Unbelievable. Hey, Ramon Henderson, send that one to Notre Dame in Oklahoma.
Absolutely. And let's walk them back through that. We had trips left. They go backside to try to throw the fade to the single matchup. Ramon, who was the third receiver on the other side, tracks it down after the initial receiver stumbles, catches the Hail Mary with time expiring for a 30-0 lead. Liberty Patriots.
Ramon Henderson was just running a skinny post, and I think he looked up and saw the ball and said, I guess I better run towards that.
Wow.
And then he looked up again and went, oh, I think I'm going to catch it. And then he looked up again and went, oh, touchdown. And here we are.
But how about the air under the throw
that
by
ball
man?
hung. Yeah.
Wow. That's exactly what you got to do in that instance because you want to make sure you're getting it close to the end zone.
Unsportsmanlike on Liberty.
Celebration.
Touchdown stands. You can understand the celebration.
Absolutely.
That's what Brian Nixon might be asking about right now. Like, I don't get it.
Wow.
What
Wow.
a second quarter for the Patriots. Unbelievable.
23 unanswered points. Or, well, 30 unanswered points for that matter, but 23 straight. After a very well played, balanced first quarter from both teams. And now you have a massacre this close to Halloween.
By the way, that is the 6th consecutive completion for Hayden Mann, who's up over 130 yards on those 6.
Wow.
Just on his last 6 attempts. That's not counting the rest of the game. Here's the extra point from Blevins. Puts it through. It is 31-0 Liberty. And the Patriots are making an absolute statement here in this one. 24 second quarter points for Liberty. It is 31-0 Patriots over Stockdale.
Wow.
We'll take a break and be back with the second half of this one on the Kern High Network.
Woo.
One thing about Kern Schools is you get to do your banking your way.
I still like writing checks and visiting my branch.
For me, it's all about the mobile.
And I still do everything online or through the ATM.
So no matter how you do your banking, Kern Schools is always there. Kern Schools. Together, we have something special.
One thing about Kern Schools is you get to do your banking your way.
I still like writing checks and visiting my branch.
For me, it's all about the mobile. And I still do everything online or through the ATM.
So no matter how you do your banking, Kern Schools is always there. Kern Schools. Together, we have something special.
There are over 100 places to get pizza in Kern County, but only 4 are good enough to be called Tony's. So what's the Tony's Pizza difference? We're not giving away our secrets, but the proof is in the pizza. Tony's Spicy Mexicana, the mouth-watering Hawaiian, the award-winning Chili Verde, and so many more. Trust us, you'll find your favorite. If you want great pizza, you can play the numbers game, or you can get it right the first time. Tony's Pizza, 3 locations in Bakersfield and 1 in Shafter.
One thing about Kern Schools is you get to do your banking your way.
I'm a traditional banker. I still like writing checks and visiting my branch.
I'm a millennial, and for me, it's all about the mobile.
And I'm somewhere in between. I still do my banking online and at the ATM. And with access to over 30,000 surcharge-free ATMs nationwide, Kern Schools is always close by.
So no matter how you do your banking, Kern Schools is always there. That's why we're the #1 financial institution in all of Kern County. Kern Schools. Together, we have something special. One thing about Kern Schools is you get to do your banking your way.
I'm a traditional banker. I still like writing checks and visiting my branch.
As a millennial, for me, it's all about the mobile. And I'm somewhere in between. I still do everything online or through an ATM.
So no matter how you do your banking, Kern Schools is always there. That's why we're the #1 financial institution in all of Kern County.
Take advantage of our low mortgage rates, including 60-day rate lock and no cost to you. Purchase or refinance your home today.
Kern Schools. Together, we have something special.
It's wicked cool. It's our new aviation class. It gives kids a chance to break into the industry. There's a lot of careers in aviation. This class is a lot more than just flying planes.
We've learned so much already. We've learned how to take off. We've learned instrument flight rules. It's something everyone can do, I think.
Good. And you see, remember that horizon? Try to keep it parallel to your cockpit.
After the 2-year program, they're going to be able to take the knowledge test for their private pilot exam. I am a pilot. I've been in Bakersfield for 10 years. I worked as an instructor for 6 years and then became a corporate pilot. And I'm a teacher here. We have amazing equipment. Even flight schools don't have that much equipment.
You put a class like this somewhere at North High, and it's really preparing kids to succeed because it gives them a whole new set of opportunities they never knew that they had the chance to pursue. I'm proud to say that I'm from North High School and that we have administration that's willing to put the money into offering really, really neat programs like this and preparing kids to succeed.
A lot of more hands-on activities, a lot more about woodworking and what to do, how to make a career for myself.
It's not only for guys. I am actually learning how to make cupboards and put it together, like doors, cabinets. It's really fun, actually.
Yeah, well, it's really amazing to see their growth over the course of a year and how they can come in with no real skill at all and leave being able to actually produce furniture and cabinetry.
Houses need cabinets, businesses. Having a pool of resources or kids that have some knowledge in the industry would be real good.
Pull down on that. Let's slide these up. Watch fingers.
It's changed a lot. What I'm seeing here is what it's going towards. The CNC equipment, computers. I could actually build cabinets out of this shop. It's state of the art. It really is.
I am constantly looking for students that have been through these programs. It's always nice to have a person that has some experience. It's a lot easier to train. I think we're fortunate in Bakersfield that the Kern High School District has invested in a program like this. I would encourage other businesses to partner up with the Kern High School District like I've done here, because this really shows you what can be done if business comes together with the Kern High School District.
This is where we're going to train the kids to actually get jobs in the industry. We're going to give them the basic tools that they need, also the skills that they need to understand where they fit into the industry.
All the animated things, because we have everything that we need in the scenes.
They are learning the principles of animation, Photoshop. They're learning how to animate in 2D and 3D. And when you swap to that shape, then you're just going to drag these over here.
The storyboard aspect of creating basically the skeleton of the story, and then just sort of directing people in my vision of what I want in the story. And it's also giving me the advantage of Mr. Pollard, since he's worked at so many companies, being able to put it in my resume and be like, this is the art direction I've received.
I was shearing my lamb for fair. I have 2 lambs.
This lamb is stubborn.
Taking care of animals is you feed them twice a day, make sure they have water, walk them, make sure they're ready for fair.
Vet science is the first year before you can actually go into animal science, and it's a lot of like hands-on with the different animals, and you get to learn different things such as giving shots, castrating, all that fun stuff. For me, wanting to be a vet when I'm older, it prepares me. All the stuff that I'm learning in ag is definitely going to help me.
I'm in ag communications. Anything that you see on the Facebook page is what we do, and pictures, and we do all the posters that are around campus. Anything that just promotes ag.
Our students are all part of the FFA organization, and through that we have a chapter officer team. We do monthly chapter meetings because we're trying to get them involved outside of class, so they can find something that they're interested in, and they need something that's going to hook them so that they're ready for life after high school.
In animal care, the students learn a variety of things, whether it's tools or terms. In the veterinary field, they learn about the skeletal systems, animal nutrition, the housing, how to properly care for them. They also have the opportunity in the spring to actually go work at a veterinary hospital or at an animal shelter or a grooming salon.
Animal restraint, weight and temperature, pulse, respiration, all of that I learned here.
They take a state certified test, and if they pass, they become a certified vet assistant right out of high school.
It's always hands-on, and so I think that's what really helps us, is that we're not just getting it from a textbook, we're actually doing these things, and we're actually practicing these things that we'll be doing in our future careers.
It's wicked cool. It's our new aviation class. It gives kids a chance to break into the industry. There's a lot of careers in aviation. This class is a lot more than just flying planes.
We've learned so much already. We've learned how to take off. We've learned instrument flight rules. It's something everyone can do, I think.
Good. And you see, remember that horizon? Try to keep it parallel to your cockpit.
After the 2-year program, they're going to be able to take the knowledge test for their private pilot exam. I am a pilot. I've been in Bakersfield for 10 years. I worked as an instructor for 6 years and then became a corporate pilot. And I'm a teacher here. We have amazing equipment. Even flight schools don't have that much equipment.
You put a class like this somewhere at North High, and it's really preparing kids to succeed because it gives them a whole new set of opportunities they never knew that they had a chance to pursue.
So while your financial life may start out with a Rocky Raccoon account, as you grow, we'll be with you every step of the way. From your first car and everyone thereafter, to investing in your family's future, to buying that special house you'll call home. Current Schools. Together, we have something special.
Welcome to the city, Motor City, where it's summer sell down. Drive away a GMC Sierra 4-door, only $29,990, or save up to $10,000 off select Sierra HD models. Summer sell-down offers end September 3rd. We are professional grade, and we are California's largest volume GMC dealer, Motor City.
Current Schools Federal Credit Union is here to be your lifelong financial partner. So while your financial life may start out with a Rocky Raccoon account, as you grow, we'll be with you every step of the way. From your first car and everyone thereafter, to investing in your family's future, to buying that special house you'll call home. Current Schools is here to help. And if you live in Kern County, then you can bank with us. See, we're local just like you, so what we accomplish together benefits our entire community. Current Schools. Together, we have something special.
For over 100 years, Bakersfield College has helped thousands of people achieve their dreams through education. Now Bakersfield College is bringing college closer to home, with courses offered in Southwest Bakersfield on Stockdale Highway, downtown Bakersfield, and at the main campus on Panorama Drive. Programs and classes also available in Delano, Shafter, Arvin, and online. Your path to a bright new future can start today at the home of the Renegades. It's easy. Take the first step. Visit bakersfieldcollege.edu to learn more.
Welcome back to Liberty High School here. Second half getting ready to get underway. 31-0. The Patriots lead over the Stockdale Mustangs. I'm Jason Galvin alongside of Kenny Calvin. Julian Wilson, our camera operator, producer here tonight. This is the Kern High Network. The Kern High School District wants to thank Motor City, Bakersfield College, and the Kern Schools Federal Credit Union for their continued support of students here in the district. And we're getting ready to go with the second half here of action, Kenny, and we got some scores to run through from around Kern County.
Well, we got Highland 42-8 over Foothill. I wonder if that's still going. We got an update of BHS leading 21 over Frontier 6. Got a barn burner, Kern Valley 29 over Boron 27. I used to work in East Kern. I know that's an important game for those guys out there. It's going down. And Ridgeview High School up 14 over BCHS is 7. As we prepare for kickoff, Stockdale will receive. Liberty will kick off, leading 31-0. And this is going to be a huge drive to see what the character and manhood of these young Mustangs is going to be, or it's going to be an early night, Jason.
Patriots to kick off to Stockdale here in the second half. Deep to return for the Mustangs is Lauren Johnson, a 6'2" junior. Braden Blevins tees it up, sends it short, and this is actually not going to be Johnson, but the up man Barrientos to return. Comes near side, 30, 33 or so, knocked out of bounds for Luz Barrientos, and we're ready to go. Third quarter with 11:55 remaining after 5 seconds ticked off. And Stockdale gets the ball for the first time, and Jack Kaiser trots on out to the quarterback position. First half of this game, Kaiser was 4 of 14 for 54 yards. Kenny, his last 6 passes.
Wow.
Every pass since Jacob Jones went out of the game has fallen incomplete.
Yeah, it's tough when you lose your young gun. And Jacob Jones, he's going to be out with an ankle sprain. Now Stockdale's coming out in that pistol formation. They're going inside run to
Barrientos right up the middle, and he got maybe a yard.
You know, and Liz Barriento, he's a junior. He's 5'4", 150 pounds. So, you know, you lose a guy like Jacob Jones, and you try to do your best to fill the gap. Luz is a tough kid. I know he's up for the challenge.
The replacement running backs for Stockdale, Hudson and Barrientos, have combined for -3 yards. And this is incomplete, trying to get it to Gradowitz. And that is the 7th consecutive incomplete pass from Kaiser, and he's looked for Gradowitz on at least 4 of those.
Well, without looking at the scoreboard, ladies and gentlemen, look at the body language of the players on the field. After 2 plays from Stockdale, they're walking around with their heads down. You know, and I'm a guy that lives and breathes. The game ain't over until it's over.
Right.
But it's all about your attitude and how you're going to put that forth. And the way they're coming out right now, this 3rd down is going to tell us a lot.
3rd and 8. Back to throw. Kaiser, pressure coming. Kaiser throws. Intercepted. 40, 30, 20, 10, 5. Touchdown. Pick
Liberty.
6. Jake O'Connell.
Well, Jason, I couldn't even get it out my mouth as the play develops. And you got a pick 6 that takes that body language that was already bad and turns this game into a running clock. And Liberty has answered 30 straight points after a 7-0 game was very tight in the first quarter. I got to like what Coach Nix is putting together down there. And I would love to hear what he told them in the locker room about keeping the pedal to the metal. Kick is up. Kick is good by Brayton Blevins.
38-0.
Wow.
Just seconds. 47 of them, in fact, into the 3rd quarter. Jake O'Connell, the senior defensive back, stepped up, read the route, had a running start, and only had to beat Kaiser, and did so at the 5-yard line. It is 38-0 Liberty. That is the first turnover of this game for either team.
And that's hard to believe when you have such a lopsided game, but it goes to show how little Stockdale's been able to move the chains at all. And once you lose a kid like Jacob Jones, when he's been carrying the load for you, you just get so used to being able to hand it off to a guy like that and watch him go. Now it's time to execute and start using other pieces of your offense, and I just haven't seen that from the Stockdale personnel.
Liberty beat Frontier 42-0 last week.
Wow.
Last touchdown the Patriots gave up was to Centennial 2 weeks ago, and they only gave up 1 in that game, the big rivalry between the two schools that are about a mile and a half apart here in the northwest side of town. And of course, we talk about the rivalry BHS and Garces has now with Paul Gola switching schools, and you and I were talking a little bit about that at halftime. And that Centennial certainly hasn't forgotten that Brian Nixon left for Liberty 7 years ago either, so that's always a tough game. As Blevins' kick is a line drive. Johnson takes it from the 3-yard line. This is Lauren Johnson. Actually, it's Gradowitz who was back this time, and Gradowitz has
great
room.
block.
Got a block out. Boy, that
my goodness.
You got to be kidding me. If that flag is for what we called a great block.
Oh, my goodness.
That can't be.
It can't be, because what's frustrating
There's
is
no
you
way.
have the head judge, the white hat, 5 yards behind the
Looking
play
at
that
it.
calls it as a good block. And you got the guy, the back judge from the 50, throws his flag 30 yards.
I give him credit, though. It was a great throw.
Well, you know.
That is exactly what they called. Wow.
I talked about not wanting to beat a dead horse earlier, and it's tough to do when you have a game like this that was played so well in the first quarter with both teams. Now we got a 38-0 massacre in progress with 10:54 remaining to play. Stockdale is going to have to do their best to figure out something to at least get drives sustained, because you don't want to continue kicking it to a team like this because they're going to put up 70 on you.
Clock is running.
Pistol doubles formation for Stockdale.
And another whistle. I don't see a flag, but changing balls.
So
subbing the ball out.
So while we got the quick switch, we can talk about some of the games that may be influential towards the end of the year. Stockdale, I'm not sure who they have next week, but I know Liberty has to face BHS by the end of the year. They're playing some good football. It's going to be some interesting league games at the end of the year.
This is Elijah Hudson. Or is it Barrientos? It's Barrientos, they say. It is indeed. Hudson was in, and then the whistle came, and then they swapped. No, that was Hudson. I was right. Hudson to check back in. Now here comes Barrientos. Hudson picked up 2 yards up to the 19.
Well, Stockdale will be at Garces next week. That's going to be an interesting game because we got to figure out what's going to happen with Jacob Jones.
Second down and 8. Kaiser throws. Brown double covered, couldn't get it. Boy, that was dangerous. Dylan Tooker was right there.
Actually,
so was Oliver.
I'm going to check that. Liberty will be at Garces next week.
And then finishing as they always do with BHS.
With BHS, yes.
Or usually do, I should say.
And that usually is, with no bias of me being Mr. BHS 94, the Battle of Bakersfield. But, I was hoping for this to be a great challenge. I was excited to see what Stockdale had to bring to the table. But like we said, when you lose Jones, it makes it tough. Oh, and great grab.
Boy. That could have been ugly on the sideline there.
NFL-style grab by Gradowitz, and that's exactly what you need if you're Stockdale. You have to find a way to do something to keep that Liberty offense off the field before it turns into more of an embarrassment.
Stockdale hosts Frontier next week before traveling to Garces to end the season. First down, and that is a gain of 15 on the completion.
Pistol doubles formation for Kaiser.
Just the second catch for Gradowitz. Barrientos is hammered at the line of scrimmage.
Well, Liberty's defensive line is playing with purpose. They went down to that 40 even front after being in the 30 front. But once they figured that Kaiser can't beat them with his arm, they're doing a better job creating pressure and bringing pressure off the edge. They're bringing those Mike and Will linebackers as well.
Los Barrientos is limping noticeably now. The third string running back for Stockdale.
Yeah, and as tough as he is, he's 5'4" and 150 pounds. You can't just give it to him 20 times this half.
Kaiser rolls, throws, incomplete. Might as well have chucked it out of bounds.
And you can tell, even on the routes as they're in progress, that guys aren't running to the best of their abilities. They're running hoping that it's not being thrown to them. And that's the body language that I talk about. I reflect on that as a college recruiter and talking about games where it's lopsided. There's always something to watch because every play is an audition. And a lot of these young players have to take that into mind, if they want to continue to be players at the next level, because guys are watching you when you're getting kicked in the teeth to see what kind of response you're going to have. And right now, I'm not seeing that. It's going to happen to you
somewhere.
Absolutely.
Look, Alabama got kicked in the teeth in the national title game last year. Any football team can get kicked in the teeth on any night. It just happens. 6:45 left. The clock is running here at Liberty. Kaiser throws a quick out. Gradowitz has it for no gain.
And Gradowitz is the one player that's continuing to play to the best of his abilities. But when you're calling a 2-yard out when it's 3rd and 10, I see the frustration in your in your actions. And now you're kicking right back to a deadly weapon for the Liberty Patriots. back deep is Montesinos. Oh, and it's nearly blocked again by the man that just had the pick six.
Ball bounces short. Montesinos gets out of the way. It's inside of the 30 and out of bounds. Montesinos, who took a punt to the house earlier and had it called back on a flag. Liberty, if you think 38-0 is bad, Liberty had 3 other touchdowns called back on penalties, and all 3 of those drives ended in punts. So
didn't even think about that one, Jason.
Could be 59 right now. The way that Liberty has just manhandled Stockdale in this game, and you feel for the Mustangs. Kenny, you talked about it. You lose Jacob Jones, who sure is a sophomore, but probably the best sophomore football player in this valley.
Absolutely.
And a future college running back, I think. And you lose him early, and it just knocked the life completely out of this Stockdale team.
Oh, and now it looks like we got a loose ball. They get on top of it. But just like you said, you lose a stud like Jones, you have to do a better job figuring out what else you have to bring to the table. And that's what I hate to use the H word, but that's what I hate about one-dimensional football teams, because you lose your all-star, and then it exposes you as a staff and puts you in a tough position because you got to be prepared and balanced.
Sure. Well, remember, this is a Stockdale team, by the way. Jason Shores, has checked in to play some running back here for Liberty, a junior tailback, and he's got the ball again and powers forward for another yard. Hayden Mann's still in at quarterback. That's the thing with Stockdale, right? Talked about it off the top. Jack Kaiser wasn't supposed to be the quarterback this year.
Absolutely.
Right? Evan Burkhardt was supposed to be the quarterback this year and went down with an ACL injury in the spring. He was at a camp for college prospects.
Wow.
And was getting looks from Pac-12 programs. And Herm Edwards, the head coach at Arizona State, which is my alma mater, and has done a phenomenal job at Arizona State.
One of my favorite coaches.
I did not think that was a good hire. I'll be fully honest about that. I covered that team. I called games for Arizona State a couple years ago, and when they got rid of Todd Graham and replaced him with Herm Edwards, I went, huh? But Herm Edwards has done a brilliant job with that team. And Herm, who was a DB,
absolutely,
and loves the passing game, asked Evan Burkhardt to run one more route at the end of the day. One more route. And he ran a route, and he planted on the foot of the DB that was guarding him and blew his ACL. And sometimes that just happens.
Absolutely.
But it blew a tough blow to Stockdale. And so they've had to go to Kaiser, who's done an admirable job. They're 5-2. They're 2-0 in league play. They had that huge win last week when Kaiser accounted for all 97 yards on the final drive of the game between his arm and his legs. Jack Kaiser's done a good job. It's just he's done a good job when he's had Jacob Jones to balance things out and open up the passing lanes. And here's the ball on the ground on the punt, and this is actually going to set Stockdale up in a great position on 4th down. And so the Mustangs, with their best field position of the game, will start inside of the Liberty 30. It'll be 1st down at the 27. And again, we're on a running clock here, so the clock is under 3 minutes here in the 3rd quarter.
You hit a great point. You know, they've dealt with all that adversity. They're having a year no one expected them to. So we definitely don't want to make them feel bad when they're having a game when you lose your superstar. You know, but we definitely want to also highlight the importance of making sure you are a well-rounded football program and prepare for these moments because, like we know, one day your best guy is going to go down.
Kaiser fires, end zone. Gradowitz has it. Did he bring it down?
Oh, he dropped it.
Waiting on the call. They're calling that a catch. The PA announcers called it incomplete, but the linesman's over there marking the ball at the 3-yard line.
Well, the ball bounced to the track.
And
that's the confusion. Yeah, and that's the confusion.
That's a catch.
Because the ball bounced to the track after they were already on the ground. So maybe he's saying that the ground can't cause that to be incomplete after contact.
Got a foot down, went down the ball.
Lucky break for Stockdale, and they need all the breaks they can get with 1:38 remaining to play in the 3rd quarter.
27 yards on that completion.
Shotgun double set.
4th catch of the night for Gradowitz. Barrientos powers forward. Luz Barrientos, touchdown Mustangs on the board. A 4-yard touchdown run for Luz Barrientos, the 5'4 junior, gets himself a touchdown against Liberty, and the Mustangs with 6 points. Boy, I tell you what, you could see Barrientos, who's actually coming over here, and I can't tell if he's going to, are they setting up for two? Or no, he's just the wing blocker on extra points, but he is hobbling. I mean, he is playing hurt.
Absolutely.
And got himself a touchdown.
And that's what we alluded to about finding the guys that still have heart and character and want to play through the adversity as they get the block. PAT, you know, when things aren't going well, they just keep going the wrong way. You know, and even though Stockdale gets that touchdown, that PAT is blocked. But alluding to what I was talking about from a recruiter's perspective, we want to find the guys that are still going to give it all they have no matter what the scoreboard presents them. And Barrientos and Gradowitz are doing a fantastic job of that. Kaiser as well.
Running clock still, and so we might actually end up into the fourth quarter before we get this kickoff. 15 seconds left. And indeed we are. In fact, the officials have already signaled to the teams to switch sides. Stockdale was ready to go.
So, with 1 quarter remaining to play, Jason, if you could think about who's had the biggest impact on the games, we've got to start thinking about our player of the game, our current high network player of the game. We'll go down and take a picture with him with our T-shirt. Who's popping out at you?
Yeah, he hasn't found the end zone yet, but Dylan Tucker's kind of standing out to me. I mean, he has had so many big catches, and he's had a touchdown called back, which wasn't his fault, but he's had so many big catches that have set up plays in this game, and at the half, he was already up to 97 yards receiving on 5 catches, and they're just not going to throw the ball much here in the second half. If you go for 597 in the first half, you know, that pops. Hayden Mann is like the obvious one. He threw for a pair of touchdowns. He ran a pair of touchdowns. Had himself a great first half, over 250 yards of total offense. So I'd be good with either of them right now, Kenny. What do you think?
I was thinking the same thing because Tucker's play, even though he didn't get the end zone, the intensity level that those plays had inspired his teammates to start playing at a higher level. And I think after those big plays that he had, they shifted a gear after he ran over a couple people after that slant he caught. So I was definitely thinking Dylan Tucker, even though he's had the one call back.
Dylan Tucker has 5 catches for 97 yards. His shortest catch was for 11. 2 catches went for 20-plus, including a 29-yarder that set up a touchdown.
Absolutely, and for the Liberty offense, they've just easily went RPO run quarterback keeper. So man has the football so much, he's definitely going to get that attention. But when Dylan Tucker gets the football, as they go with another RPO run, he's making impact plays that inspire his team. So that's where I'm leaning right now. I'm with you on that.
Landon Churchman in at running back. Brady Turingiani is in at quarterback. So the punter, DB, wide receiver, quarterback is now in. And Hayden Mann will get to enjoy the rest of this one from the sideline, as, again, we are on a running clock here. So that's 10 minutes, 30 seconds left and counting. 38-6 Liberty, and Turingiani, as the QB, takes the snap, keeps it himself, comes to the near side, throws a stiff arm, and is dragged down from behind. That's going to be a horse collar tackle. Flags come flying in. Noah Willis on the tackle, called for the horse collar.
Yeah, and you got some amazing names on that Liberty football team being coached by some amazing names. I ran into one of my former co-coaches, Tim Anton Giovanni, on the staff of the Liberty Patriots down there. One of the best names in football.
Under 10 minutes to go. 1st and 10. Waiting for the official marking after the horse collar tackle, and that ball is going to move all the way down to the Stockdale 45.
And so you got Turingiani on the carry, being coached by Anton Giovanni. Some names for the tail right there. 1st and 10 Liberty And as you see, Coach Nix is starting to rotate players in. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to start talking player of the game. We got a running clock. This quarter's going to be over fast as possible. Shotgun double set.
Tevin Goodwill, the big linebacker, running back, takes that one right up the middle.
Defensively for Liberty, who's been somebody that stood out to you defensively?
Well, I think if you have a pick six like Jake O'Connell had, I think that just immediately pops. And that was really, 31-0 at halftime. Felt like the game was likely over, but if you come out on the third play of the half, when you know you're up by that much and you step in front of a pass and make a man miss and go 50 yards to the house, I know you saw that ball leave Kaiser's hand, and in your mind you were thinking back to your playing days.
Yep. It's one of those plays that you dream about as a young DB.
Bounced outside. This is a player who's not even on a roster. Look at that.
I was looking for him earlier, too. But talking about that pick to the house, as a DB, you have several plays that you dream of. You dream of blocking a punt. You dream of blocking a kick. But the first play you want to have is a pick to the house. It's like Christmas in the fall.
Does it make it sweeter when you can juke the quarterback at the 5?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely. You get to put one more move on a guy. But Liberty overall, you can tell they're very well coached team as they come out in that trips open set. Coach Nix has some deep, heartfelt conversations with his team and some officials. And that turned into some intense play by his personnel. And after that second quarter, they just came out as a different team.
Davion Roberson on the outside zone run was able to cut it up the middle, find himself 9 yards. It's still going to be 4th and 5 for the Patriots from just inside of the 40-yard line. And I'm looking over to see what Brian Nixon's going to do here. He's actually talking to the officials about something. Clock's down to 7:10, still running. 38-6 Liberty. Trigiani is the punter, so if they're going to punt, it's not like they need to rotate somebody else in. He's playing quarterback now, punting as well. Looking down there, and Brian Nixon still. Actually, I think what he's going to do is take the time. He's either going to take the penalty, or he's just going to call a timeout. So Nixon calls a timeout. He let the clock run down. He's actually giving his punt team more room. So Trigiani will punt from the 39. 6:45 to play. The clock is stopped now. It was a fun one for a while. If you tuned in late, the game hasn't always been like this. It was 7-0 Liberty with 5 minutes and some change left in the second quarter, and then the Patriots piled on 24 points in a 4.5-minute stretch. Trigiani gets this punt away. This is a pretty good one. It's going to bounce inside the 10. Look at that.
Nice.
How about that for some special teams practice? Down at about the 3-yard line. Excellent punt for Trigiani.
Well, Jason, if we go back and review the first quarter, which I love to go back and watch our broadcast, we'll talk about late in the first quarter where Liberty was having some penalties, Stockdale was having some penalties. We talked about the importance of Liberty being the team with the upper hand and the expected top dog, needing to correct things, and they got it corrected quickly. They came out after that quarter break and just was a different football team.
Once the penalties went away, is really when this game turned. Liberty had shot themselves in the foot on numerous occasions. We mentioned there were 3 touchdowns taken back. It was 7-0, and Liberty had 3 touchdowns wiped off the board by penalties, and numerous penalties on top of that. We had a stretch where we went 5 plays in a row with penalties on either team. 4 of them were Liberty, and they went backwards 25 yards in the process. And then they turned around and went on that long touchdown drive, and that kind of was the camel that broke the back of Stockdale, it felt like.
Yeah, and it was actually an opportunity for Stockdale before the injury even happened, I should say, for them to be able to do something to keep their offense on the field and Liberty's off the field, but they themselves couldn't overcome those penalties. And you can't keep kicking to a football team like Liberty.
Here's
but now they're taking a shot.
Gradowitz in a foot race. Gradowitz to the 20, to the 10.
Oh!
Touchdown!
Gradowitz.
Jeremiah Gradowitz, 91 yards. Stockdale touchdown.
Wow, we talked about Gradowitz continuing to play with heart. He kicked it into extra gear. I thought he was going to get caught about the 10-yard line, but nonetheless, touchdown on a 90-yard laser. Well, we talked about the importance of Stockdale not giving up. Yes, we know that this game is over from a point standpoint, but you still have something to play for. You still have execution and practice plays that can be worked on right now. So that was a great corner route and great pass by Kaiser. It's good to see him get something going.
Kaiser's extra point is up and good. Sneaks in. 38-13. Liberty leading this one. And if you're sitting at home thinking, well, the running clock maybe not fair, Stockdale scored a pair of touchdowns here, I would kindly remind you that if we did not have a running clock and we were sitting middle of the third quarter right now, Brian Nixon would also not be playing his sophomore backups.
Absolutely
so
not.
This is the running clock is kind of best of both worlds here because you're giving Stockdale a chance here to still make some plays and feel good about themselves, but it's also getting us out of here without hurting anybody we don't need to hurt, and it's giving Liberty and Stockdale, for that matter, a chance to get some players who otherwise may not get action, a chance to make a play.
Yeah, and if you're that backup safety that just gave up that corner route, you're probably not going to get much action either. Because the starter's like, man, come on.
You're sitting there going, maybe I didn't want the running clock. We're under 3 minutes to go here in this one. We're having a little bit of fun. I'm Jason Galvin alongside Kenny Calvin. Big thanks to Julian Wilson doing our camera work and production here tonight. Stan Green and everybody at the Kern High School District, the Kern High Network. A great idea that it was to launch this program and give student athletes in Kern County an opportunity to put their skills on display.
I'm so jealous of these kids.
Yeah, we didn't have this.
Oh man,
and you and I are about a generation apart, I think.
Yep.
But,
we're about a generation apart.
But neither of us had this, and even mid 2000s, we were just kind of dabbling in the world of the internet and YouTube and live streaming a high school football game on a Friday night.
Absolutely,
was not something that an entire district could have probably ever imagined. And here we are in 2019, and you can pretty much watch anything from anywhere in the world whenever you want, and that's the beauty of technology these days. So.
Well, Jason, I'll give you a giggle. My kids, they never saw me play because they're so young, and all I got is VHS tapes. So
they're like,
who has a VCR Dad, nowadays?
We still can't watch you because we don't know how to play it.
Oh, they give me the blues about that stuff.
Tirigiani is still the quarterback, man in motion here for Liberty. Under 2 minutes to go. Tirigiani's kind of got his hands up. I think there's still a play clock here, guys. There's a snap and a handoff right up the middle. This is Tevin Goodwill. He gets maybe a yard. And we'll have maybe 2 more snaps in this football game.
So, Jason, we talked about our Kern High Network player of the game with 1 minute left.
What are you feeling, Kenny?
I gotta say, even though man controlled the show from the pocket, he didn't do a lot of throwing the ball around. He basically did what he needed to do, play mistake-free football. When Dylan Tooker touched the football, this crowd went crazy, and his teammates got energy off his impact plays. So I got to go Dylan Tooker.
Is that our call? I'm good with it. Dylan Tooker, our player of the game. 5 catches, 97 yards, and a 3-yard carry. So over 100 yards. And look at this. All the way down to the 30-yard line is Davion Roberson.
Wow. Davion Roberson saying, don't give out that shirt too quick, guys.
40-plus yard run for Davion Roberson, who's going to come out, and that's going to do it. The clock running, and both teams said we've had enough. A dominant performance for Liberty. Don't let the score fool you. 38-13 doesn't tell the full story. From the middle of the second quarter on, the Patriots made a statement that right now, Liberty is the best team in Kern County High School football. Now they still got a tough schedule in front of them here. They still got to play Garces next week, and they still got to play BHS in the rivalry game at the end of the year. But for now, there is no question who is number one. The Patriots move to 7-1, 3-0 in league play. They'll play Garces next week. Stockdale moves to 5-3, pardon me, 2-1 in SWIL play. And the Mustangs will host Frontier next week. That's going to do it for us here. I want to thank once again Kern High Network, Motor City, Kern Schools, and Bakersfield College. For our camera operator and producer, Julian Wilson. For Kenny Calvin, I'm Jason Galvin. Final score from Liberty High School, Patriots 38, Stockdale 13. Good night.